If you guys are struggling with trying to figure out the details of what school to go to, then hopefully this video will be able to help you guys out. Today I'm going to be talking all about the different options when it comes to schools, the different types of schools, and which types of schools might be best suited for you as a potential graphic design major in college. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jeff Lopalato. I'm a recent design graduate from Merrimack College, where I studied graphic design for 4 years. So I have a little bit of experience studying graphic design and going to college, living on campus, doing the homework, doing the projects, and I'm here to share all of that knowledge and experience with you guys. So picking what school you want to go to, there are so many options when it comes to the size of the school you want, is it public, is it private, and is it a jack of all trades kind of school, is it a specific art or design school? There's a lot of options to consider, right? And even location is a really big deal. Like, do you want to be in a city, or do you want to be in a more rural setting? And do you want to move away from home too? That's another big one. So there's a lot of choices when it comes to deciding what school you want to go to. And I remember when I was applying, and it just seemed so overwhelming, and I didn't really feel like the guidance counselors and the superiors at my high school, who were meant to help me out, they tried their best to help, but at the same time I couldn't help but think that it's been a long time since they've been in college, and I don't know, I didn't really feel like they provided me with like as much help as I probably needed at the time. And I figured all my shit out over time, but I had to do it on my own, and it took me a while. It took me going through a few years of college before I was really sure of what exactly I was getting myself into when I was studying graphic design, and if I had picked the right school. I just want to make sure that I can at least hopefully help you guys minimize all of those questions in your head that are going to be floating around there for a while. Even when you get to college, there's still going to be a lot of questions, and I want to just minimize the damage, basically. So that's what I'm going to hope to accomplish in this video. Hope you guys enjoy. The first thing that we have to think about when we're thinking about what college we want to go to is the size. Personally, I like to start with the size just because that's kind of like the overarching detail that's going to rule out a lot of different schools for you. So for me, I was more partial to a smaller to medium-sized school. I didn't really want to go to a large state university or something with like 30,000 kids and be in these 400-person lecture halls or however many there are, but I was more partial to a smaller classroom size where there was a more personal relationship with your professor. So that was something that I wanted, and so that really minimized the search for me. It narrowed things down, and it gave me a clearer picture of what schools I could look at. The second thing we want to consider is where you want to go to school, the location. So I myself knew that I didn't want to go too far from home, but I wanted to live at school, and I didn't want to be a super easy drive. I didn't want to be like, there's a UMass campus 15 minutes from where my home is, and I did not want to be that close to home at all. So I looked, within the like 3 to 4 maximum hour drive distance away. So that included Connecticut and Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. So if you guys want to go really far, then that's another thing that's going to narrow your search. Or if you want to be close, if you're commuting to school, or you just want to be, an easy drive to home whenever you need to do some extra laundry, or I don't know, you want to get home for some family events that are going on pretty easily without having to take a plane or something like that. So these are things to consider, and I think once you narrow down the size and the location of the school you want to go to, your search is already really narrowed down, and it's already becoming a little less scary to figure out, where you might see yourself. So the next thing I would consider, and this is kind of a smaller detail, I feel like you don't even necessarily have to worry about it that much, but it is worth mentioning, and that's the difference between a public or private institution. It's really up to you on that, so you're just gonna have to do that research on your own and decide for yourselves. So now, after all of that information in the beginning, we finally get to what you might have thought was the most important detail, and that's the major and the program that the school offers. So there's a few different ways to look at this. One way is to just look at the program itself. You want to look at the graphic design program size, the facilities that they have to use, and that will give you a hint as to the amount of funding that they get for the program. So the size of the program is really important, and then also how long the program has been at the school too. If it's a newer program, maybe you want something that's a little bit more seasoned, or maybe you like the idea of a brand new program. It's really up to you, and again, you're gonna have to look on the school websites to kind of do that research for yourself, but those are things to consider whenever you are doing the research. And then we get into the details of, is this a art and design school specifically, or is this, I don't know what the word would be, but a regular school? I don't know, but just a college that has a variety of majors that they offer, and not just specifically creative majors, right? So like a RISD or an art center, they're only offering majors within the creative industry, whereas my school, Merrimack College, they had graphic design, they had business, they had communications, health sciences, psychology, sports med, a whole plethora of options. Now, this is when it gets kind of messy, I guess you could say. For me, I really enjoyed the experience of being surrounded by people that were diverse in what they were studying and what they were interested in. It gave me kind of a broader understanding of what people were interested in and how to talk to those people as well, because whenever I was doing, say, some work for a fellow student or even a department, I had a couple of times I was tasked to do some work for a department on campus, and they talk in different languages, and when you go to a creative-based school like Art Center, most people are going to be familiar with the terminology that you're using if you're using graphic design terminology, but that's not the case for a business major, let's say, or a psychology major. They might not be familiar with the graphic design lingo. So when you're learning things and you're presented with either doing a project for or with them, you gotta learn how to be able to speak about your work in a way that they can understand. And I really liked the opportunity and the experience that I got being able to do that literally on a day-to-day basis. So that's one thing to consider. One other thing to consider that kind of is in favor of the creative school side of things is that the programs at design and art schools are going to be most likely, I don't want to say in every case, but most likely they're going to be a little bit better suited for teaching like hardcore design skills. What I mean by that is they're going to have the reach and the interest to pull really amazing designers to be their professors, and chances are that their programs have been around a little bit longer. And even aside from that, if it's a creative school, then that just means that all of the funding is focused on these creative majors. And at Merrimack, like in my experience, the graphic design program was still growing. It was a little newer, it was smaller, so we didn't have like this super high-tech, latest edition design lab and all these endless materials to do whatever we wanted with. We were a little bit more limited. Like, we had a Mac lab and nice computers and plenty of space to do our work, but you know, we weren't getting the most amount of funding from the school, let's say, as compared to like the business program, which is one of their more successful majors. So that's really something that you want to consider when looking at your school. So I kind of proposed one look for each side that kind of is a positive look for each side. I also want to make a more in-depth video about this topic in the future, because I do think it's important to distinguish the differences and the similarities between design schools and your major schools. I still don't know like what that word would be. I'm gonna look it up after this video and feel like an idiot, but whatever. So yeah, once you kind of go through that whole list, and I know it sounds like a lot, but like I said, deciding where you want to go to college is a really big and really important thing to figure out in your life. It's, you know, probably one of the biggest steps you're going to take in your life until you get a job. And that's professionally, I should say, one of the biggest steps professionally and for your career that you're going to take in your life. And kind of the first big milestone, I guess you could say, too, because you might be thinking about what you want to do in high school, but deciding where you want to go to school is kind of like that first big leap into saying, I don't know, like solidifying yourself and saying, this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to do it by studying at this school. So really important. Make sure you do your research. Make sure that you write the essays, and you know, I just, like, you got to do, you're looking around. I will say that when I was applying, I could have been a little bit more proactive whenever I was looking for schools. I won't lie, I definitely limited myself a little bit. Granted, I had an amazing college experience and I wouldn't take it back, so I'm fine, but I do know some people who kind of fell into the same I guess you could say lazy mindset that I did whenever I was applying, and they transferred and dropped classes and ended up, you know, having a kind of messy life for a little while, trying to figure out exactly what to do and where to go. So we don't want that to happen to you guys. So please take the advice, do your research, don't be lazy, and if this video helped you guys out, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content coming out from this channel in the future, I would really appreciate it if you go over and hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the little bell icon to get any notifications. I post a new video every week, so stay tuned for all the future content. Leave any comments down below if there's a specific video you want me to make or any questions you want me to answer that directly impact you, because I'm only one person, and you know, I think I have a lot of really great ideas for videos, but at the end of the day, I'm servicing you guys and what things you want to know about this whole college mess and graphic design and how it all fits together. So yeah, make sure you leave a comment and I will make sure to look at those to get ideas for future videos. Alright guys, so that's all from me today. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.